Hello everyone! It is that time of the month where we share our finished pages. My name is Karu and I got a total of 9 pages done for February, and I think it's going to be even more this month because I've already done quite a few pages so far. So before I show off my finished pages, I do have my coloring journal here. I colored quite a lot this month. I had less interruptions, just a couple of days off here and there. But I managed to color at least half an hour or so on most days. I finished at least one page in World of Wonder. I actually got 2 pages done. And I finished my spread in Ends of the Earth and Back Again. I finished 2 buddy colors in February. It's at the front, I believe. This time I did fill in my yearly stats overview, so I only published one video in February. I've been feeling a bit overwhelmed, I guess, with editing, so I only got my colored finished pages video done last month. I did get 88 new subscribers, so thank you to everyone who has joined me. So I have a total of 755 at the end of February. Watch time went down considerably, but considering it's about a third and I only had one video, that seems about right. With 2K views, again, 1/3. I finished 9 pages. I did not have any work in progresses left from February, though I don't think I finished any of the work in progresses I still had from January. I started one book. I purchased 2 new books. So now I have 32 coloring books. I finished 32 hashtags. And did the 2 buddy colors. I didn't do any art pieces, and I spent way too much on supplies. I need to stop doing that. So here is my February tracking. So you can see I did quite a lot of hashtags. I believe these at the bottom are the yearly ones, and I have 2 new yearly ones that I added as well. There's my 2 buddy colors, my supplies, and all of my finished pages. So I haven't posted them all on Instagram, but hopefully I get around to it. I don't end up posting all of them for some reason. But yeah, I had some of them I tracked colors, some of them I just wanted to color without having to worry about that. So I did end up using some colors doubled. So this set of colors, for example, I used for this page for both pages. And I also managed to figure out how to do a color log for alcohol markers. I did this in another book, and then I took the page, I cut it out, and I pasted it so that I don't have to worry about the alcohol marker going on to the next page. So that was fun. And yeah, so I had this was just I had this on the page itself, and so I put it here once I was done. So yeah, that's how I have all my logs, and I already have March. I've already finished 3 pages for March, and I have my list of hashtags for this month. So I'm going to leave this on the side just so I can check things, and we'll get this out of the way. We'll start with the biggest one, I guess. To the Ends of the Earth and Back Again, the longest coloring book in the world. So I am trying to finish 1 page per month. This was January's, and this is the one I finished for February. Get that there. So let me just, before I zoom in, let me see if I can get, there we go. So that was January. This is February. And yeah, it's an accordion style coloring book. And I believe this has some Northern European fairy tales and myths. I did notice that there was a bit of Russian stuff as well. Get closer? Yeah. Kind of hard to keep it. I have too much on here. It keeps moving. There we go. So, I have continued using... I kept getting out of focus. I continued using mostly Ohuhu alcohol markers. I love how this paper takes the alcohol marker. It is so nice to color in this book with alcohol markers, and I don't have to worry about the bleed through. I'm seeing how much of a daunting thing this is going to be because the next page after this is going to be even more complex. But this one was fairly simple still. I had some decisions to make on the bear, for example. I've seen so many people doing this with a white bear. I decided that I was going to make my bear black. I tried looking up the references for the buildings on the back of the bear and the deer, and I did find them. The pointy triangle one is a Viking style church, and the other one is a Russian style. I believe it's an Orthodox church. It's a there was a it was like a very old style wooden church with silvery roof, so that's why I chose those colors. And now the other thing I added to this page was using gel pens because I know there's going to be a lot of small details in the next pages that it's going to be easier for me to use gel pens on. So this flower down here I decided to make with glittery gel pens and metallic gel pens. So I use metallic gel pens for the back and then glitter gel pens for all the smaller details. And I'm not sure if I can make the glitter show up. Yeah, kind of hard with the angle. I don't want to bump the lamp. But yeah, so it has a bit of glitter there, and I think it worked out okay. And this is the page I'm tackling this month, so wish me luck. So that is To the Ends of the Earth and Back Again by Good Wives and Warriors. Next up, we have a page in Small Victories, and this was a relatively quick page that I keep losing. I should have marked it. There it is. It keeps like flipping past. There we go. So I finished this one for Valentine's Day, and I used a mix of stuff here. I colored the flowers in with the Brutfuner colored pencils. I used Ohuhu water-based markers for the background and the darker leaves. Then the stems and smaller leaves were done with the Wang gel pens, and it is a metallic pink color. So this was for the, what do I have? For the One Color Challenge 2024 hashtag and Pink Background Lovers hashtag, and a couple of other ones, Love and Hearts 2 and Love is in the Air by DS. So lots of love related stuff, pink background, and again, I'm not sure how much you can tell the metallic glow in this light. You can kind of see the shift. Yeah, a bit. It was in Small Victories by Johanna Basford. Next book is Cute to Be Creature Coloring by Phoebe Im, and I finished 2 in this book this month. First one is this cute little hedgehog page, which I chose for Color Cute Wildlife 2024, and it worked for Emmy Nature for 2024 and Animals Color Along 2024 as well. This was done with Ohuhu alcohol markers and nothing else. It was nice and quick, a bit more relaxing. I used this to break up my work on the big spread of Ends of the Earth. And it's always nice coloring in this one because of how simple it is. For the background, I used some washi tape to make the square, and then colored it in with alcohol marker, took the washi tape off, and used another alcohol marker to do the border in a darker yellow. And I really like how that came out. It worked well, so I didn't have to go to the edge of the page, but does give it a nice background look. So I'm probably going to be doing that for quite a few other pages, actually. And the second one I finished was this Yeti and Friend page, which I did go to the border due to the nature of the image. And I used, again, this was for One Color Challenge 2024 with blues, which is why even the skin is blue, but I figured they look like they're like in a blue icy cave. Everything is blue. Of course, the skin is going to look tinted blue because of that lighting. So I think it worked out. I used my purplest blue for the cheeks and the mouth, and that gave it just a bit of hint towards the red. And this was also for Wintry Color Along 24. And for this one, I used Ohuhu markers for most of it. So the shading in the white parts, the icicles, and the main figures. I used the US Supply gel pens for the background. This was a bit of an experiment. I'm getting used to these supplies. I just got them in February. So I scribbled them in the background and then used water to smooth it out. It's not perfect, but honestly, the overall effect is fine. It's so much quicker, and I don't have to use my alcohol markers for such big spaces. And then once I had finished shading the snow, I added some glittery watercolor over top, so you can still see the shadows. But, and this is probably going to be impossible for me to check on this lighting, but yeah, you can kind of see it. All the snow has that glittery goodness on it. Yeah, you can kind of see it. I don't want to bump the camera. And then I used what did I use? Oh, I used a Flysea white acrylic pen to white out the lines of the icicles and make them look nice and icy, and I really like how they came out. I did leave a bit of the black border on the edges, but I still added that white border in the inside. And yeah, that turned out real well. I am very happy with this page. So for the two I finished in Cute Chibi Creature Coloring, did not expect to do two, but honestly, I am enjoying this, so I might see more of this one in February. Right, the next book I have is Serendipity. So this is the page I finished, Winter Blossoms. Now, I didn't read the winter part here, and I imagined this background to be a like desert sand kind of thing instead of winter. Which worked out fine because I wanted a more kind of like spring feel to it. And this was my page completed for the Year of the Dragon. So I did a lot of hashtags on this one, including Year of the Dragon Color Along, Dragon Color Along, Flying February 2024, Spooky Japan Cats February, Mythical Fairy Tale World, and Dragon Color Along 24. And this was done with a mix of Ohuhu markers and water markers and Black Widow pencils for the shading. I switched between alcohol and water partially because I actually used some colors that I had been using in my bullet journal, and I realized that I actually prefer the water markers on this paper. The alcohol markers tend to bleed a lot, so it is really hard to keep them within the lines, but they are good for keeping bigger areas from streaking. So if you look at the back, I did the big areas with the alcohol marker, and then the smaller areas I did with the water-based markers. And then I went over top with the pencils and added the shading. Really, really happy. I think this might be my favorite one from February. Incidentally, I finished this one on February the 14th, so this was nice and pink for so that was in Serendipity by R.J. Hampson. You for last. Okay, next one up is Fairy Wonderland, Mythographic Fairy Wonderland by Fabiana Tenacio. Really like this book, and I've been using this as my buddy color with Coloring Jen. Coloring Jen on Instagram, Coloring Jen 1975. So the page I picked was this lion page. I had a really clear picture of what I wanted, and I'm not sure I entirely got where I wanted it to be, but nonetheless, I think it turned out really nice. I waffled on the color of the background between yellow, blue, purple. I even considered green at one point. Ended up going with blue, which seems like the safe choice, but I just wanted everything else to contrast with it, so I felt that that was going to work out the best. I kept the flowers a pale yellow, which does get a bit washed out in the video, but it is a bit more yellow in real life. And then I used watercolors for... Oh, careful. I used watercolors for the butterflies and the planets, and it is a bit of a shifting hue green blue. I used two different watercolor colors so that I would have a bit of blue to green on them. A bit hard to tell there, but I also used a silver Flysea acrylic pen for all of the little details, the sparkly bits, the stars and the dots. And I used Laren Wang gel pens for the silver pieces on the, I believe it was watercolor for the gems themselves, which I was going to add some white details and then I forgot, but it's fine. Used some jelly roll glaze for the nose, the whiskers, and the eyes. What else? Brutfuner pencils for the shading, and the shading on the lion was the thing that took the longest. I did a base of alcohol marker, and then I went over with a couple different browns and blacks to add all of the fur detailing. And I am so proud of how that came out, but oh boy, that took the longest. So by that point, by the time I was done with that, I was kind of done with shading. But I did do the same for the leaves. The leaves have some pencil shading. The flowers are only alcohol marker. And then the background was done with the US Art Supply Gel Crayons. I used some liquid masking tape to cover the flowers and all the bits and bobs, and then just went wild with the gel pens in the background and used water to smooth them out. I do like how it looks better here than on the other page I did. I think it helped that I also did, I didn't have a very light blue in the set, so I used it from just scribbling it on a palette and grabbing some for the closest bits near the lion so that I could keep that as light as I wanted it to. And yeah, that worked out. I think it also helped that I put a more or less thick layer on, thanks to not having to worry about all the little details because I had used the masking tape, the masking fluid. The only problem I had was when I was erasing that, taking off the masking fluid, the gel pen was still, the gel crayon was still smudging. So when I would use the eraser to take off the masking fluid, it would smudge onto other pieces. But considering I used the alcohol acrylic gel, because I used acrylic pen on top, it didn't really matter that much. The only places that I had to be really careful of were the flowers, since I knew that I was going to do that in alcohol marker. So overall, I really like how this came out. I had some smudging on the outside, so I ended up grabbing some washi tape to give it a border, and I think that worked out well. I wish it did go to the edge, and I almost want to go back with like black acrylic to black the edges, because you can still see the white edges, but I don't know. I don't think it's entirely necessary, and it looks good. I like it. We have already chosen a page for this month, so I will be continuing to color with buddy color. Before I move on, I'm just gonna scooch this over here so I can show off her version on this side. And like last time, we had a page that was very similar in how we colored it. This time we kind of went in complete opposites. I really like how her lion came out. I'd almost to say that was my initial idea, like more of a darker, like melanistic lion. Mine ended up being a bit more brown, but I really love the like dark purples that she chose for the lion, and the colors of hers overall make it look very different from mine, and I really enjoy how they both look. So thank you again to Jen for coloring along with me, and I am very excited to see how this month's page comes out, which I think is close by. Yeah, this one. This is the one we'll be doing for March, and I suspect they're going to be similar but different. Yeah, looking forward to that. So that is Mythographic Fairy Wonderland by Fabiana Atanasia. Next up is World of Wonder by Johanna Basford, and this is one of my books I wish to complete. And so I am trying to do one page at least a month. Getting too much light from outside. Okay. So I am trying to complete at least 1 page a month. I finished 2 pages last month. And it is these two. I used the same set of colors for both of these. This page was picked by my partner as my next page to tackle. So I did that one first, and this was done with Brutfuner pencils, and I picked out these pencils, tried to keep limited color palette, and the idea was that the first one was going to be sunrise, sunset, and nighttime. So it was the different times of the day, and I think I managed it pretty well using the same colors. I tried to keep everything cohesive. Ended up using purple for the bottles up top and then blue for the bottom ones so that they had kind of like the opposite color of the sky. And then I decided that I really liked those colors and realized that they would look really good on the horse. So I kept the pencils and later on in the month tackled the horse with the same pencils, and I really like how it came out. It was exactly how I had imagined, and these colors are just so bright. The Brutfuner pencils are cheaper than the Black Widows, and yet I am enjoying coloring with the Brutfuners better than the Black Widows. I've had to kind of like slightly force myself to use more of the Black Widows, especially now that I have the full set. But I am surprised by how well these pencils go on, especially this kind of smooth paper. The Black Widows work better on toothy paper, and a lot of the Johanna Basford books have paper that is too smooth, so I can't layer the Black Widows properly. But these Brutfuners worked really well. I could keep layering all I wanted, and it doesn't get that waxy bloom. And so yeah, I was able to layer colors on colors and mix what I was doing, so I could use either the purples or browns to shade the red and get different effects like that. So that was a lot of fun. And once I had finished with the pencils, I added some gel pen details. I used a silver gel pen for all of the bottle edges on this side and also for the stars. I also used it to cover the lines on the clouds with the silver and the little lines separating these bits of kind of like windy swirls. And on this page, I used them gold one for outlining the stars and all the little dots around there. Other than that, I kept the background simple. I kind of like how it looks with the white background, so I just added a tiny bit of shading below all of the bottles and the horse. So yeah, that is 2 pages done in this book for February. I already have 1 page done in March, and I have another one in work in progress, and I might be doing 3 in this book this month. So good progress. And the last one, this is the book that I started this month, Color Universe by Kirby Rosanes. This was a new book I got, I think, in January. And this is a buddy color, but my buddy has not finished hers. So I am going to show it off now, but hopefully I'll show it off again next month as well so that I can show her version. And we picked the first page for the dragon here in the bottom. And here again, I didn't want to color the whole background, but this page had words here that says something like coloring pages or something. So I didn't want that to be visible. So I blacked out the background with a black acrylic marker, and I put the border here just to center the image and not have to go all the way to the spine. Then I used watercolor pencils for most of it. I did include some water-based markers used as watercolors, so I would scribble it on a palette, and then I would grab that with a water pen and put it on. And I did that mostly for the rocks here, I think, and a couple of other areas. I think I also so this was all pencil, and then I would scribble the pencil on the palette to just get a bit of a darker tone in the shadows. And then I went over with a white jelly roll to add details. I think it was jelly roll. Nope, I lied. White Flysea Acrylic pen to add white highlights in the gold areas, and I also whited out the top line of the water just to make it like it was in the foreground. I feel like I could have done a bit better with the background. In person, it looks a bit more streaky, but honestly, I think it's fine. And I like the overall effect. And I did enjoy doing this one. I ended up finishing this one in one go. So I started it on one day and finished it, I think, on the same day or the next day. So yeah, really fast. It's one of the simpler Kirby pages I've done, but I am looking forward to do more. I always like doing that, like watercolor effects on Kirby's pages, even if it does get a bit crinkly. But I had some bleed through, but it's not much. And I think even though this is technically double-sided, considering most of these pages are something you'd color the whole page, I don't think that bit of bleed is too bothersome because you can cover it up on the other page. It's always a concern for lighter areas though, where if you have like something dark on the other side, it could bleed onto there. But yeah, I think the only places that it bled, let me check. Oh yeah, I layered quite a lot on the stonework, and that was with markers, so maybe that's what bled onto the other side. So that is all my pages for February. I have a lot of plans for March and quite a few already started, so who knows, I might be able to finish more in February than I did in March. Sorry, March than I did in February. Not forgetting anything, right? I'm just gonna go through here. Yeah, that was my 9 pages. So really liking that, and no, this is unsticking. I have already started my March tracking, and with 3 pages done, and yeah, so looking forward to sharing those. I am not going to promise any videos because I have been kind of procrastinating on editing, but I still have that one that I promised last month that I may tackle, and I might try some easier ones this month, and maybe some stuff that is not exactly coloring. Maybe I did get a lot of supplies in the last couple months, so I might try doing a haul. Let me know if you'd be interested in seeing what new coloring supplies I've gotten recently, and maybe I'll do that. In the meantime, that is it for me for February. I hope you enjoyed my pages, and if anyone is interested in doing some buddy colors, I'm always open to that in any of the books that I am working on. See you next time.